My name is Goose Susie. My family and I live up in Idaho. We love it there. We own multiple businesses right now in the medical field, real estate, even a little bit of the aviation. We're working on get a plane and lease it out. But I wasn't handed nothing. I didn't start where I'm at today. I'm 32 years old. Got two beautiful babies, a 3-year-old daughter and 10-month-old son, and a beautiful wife, Kelsey. She's actually the glue of our family. She's the executor, she's the sniper. She allows me to dream big, and together we're a pretty good team. A little backstory, we grew up, money was never abundant by any means. It was always pretty tough times with money, but my parents did a pretty good job of not letting us truly feel that. Looking back, I didn't realize how broke we were most of the time. As a little kid, you're just playing and being loved on. At least that's how my childhood was. We moved around a whole bunch. I moved 16 times before I even got to college. I was born in Louisiana and spent most of my childhood and life growing up in the great state of Idaho. Moved around a lot, like I said. Lived with my grandparents for a little bit, which was an amazing foundation piece of my life. Just the values that were taught there. My Nana and my Gramps at the time. Gramps taught us how to tie flies, how to hunt, how to fish, just kind of how to treat a lady, how to be a man, really, how to be a gentleman. And my mom did a phenomenal job of teaching us how to be, her little boys, to be grown men and to be gentlemen as well. That was something that was very, very important to her, to raise her 4 boys. I'm the oldest of 4. To raise her 4 boys to be gentlemen in this world. My Nana helped with that as well. She's an amazing person. My dad, he has always been such an amazing encourager. He used to take me to meetings when I was 6 years old. I'd go to network marketing meetings with him. And I'd be up there after the meeting drawing the little triangle bubbles and everything. And so I thank him a lot for that. He was in and out quite a bit throughout my life, but I think he was doing the best that he could. And I think everybody in my family did the best they absolutely could. I have a stepdad who my parents aren't married anymore, but that didn't change who he was to us. We still call him dad to this day. And he came in, never been married, never had any kids, and then all of a sudden had a wife and 4 teenage boys. So he's got a very special place in my heart. It's just amazing how everybody throughout your life just kind of like drips on you, right? And I think everybody does the best that they know how to do with what they have. I don't know of anybody that really tries to do less than what they can do. I do think there's a difference between doing the best you can do and just not quite knowing what your best is, but just figuring it out along the way. And I think that's kind of been my childhood growing up. Moved around a lot, like I said. Went to high school in McCall, Donnelly, in Idaho. Small town. When we were there, there was like 3,200 people that lived there year round. In summertime, it gets to be a lot more. From a little boy, I always had a dream of, let me back up a little bit. I went to high school in McCall and really wasn't a great student. I knew how to play the school game, which was show up, act like you're interested, and at least get C's, and you'll just keep on going to the next level. Which is kind of funny because that's literally society. We're teaching our kids that you just have to do the bare minimum work to get promoted and to get to the next level, because that's all school does. That's what happens in school. That's not what all school does, but that's what happens in school. Because as long as you're average, you get to go to the next level. And that's why there's so many average people today, whether they know they are or aren't. I consider myself not even close to my potential, but I'm constantly trying to strive to get better and better. And I think we all should be doing that. Everybody's in a different season of life right now. But after high school, went to play football at University of Idaho. And I quit football after two and a half years. I quit football. I quit school. Started a recycling business, and I was fighting fire also. Green Goose Recycling was the name of the company. hatching a greener generation. That's pretty darn catchy for not having much schooling. Didn't realize, didn't know anything about business. My brother and I were just kind of bootlegging it, bootstrapping it, trying to figure it out. It was the first business of its kind in that town. It was a curbside recycling, which they still don't have today. So if you're watching this and you want a good business idea, if you can figure it out, there you go. Realized we didn't know anything about business. So I just said, you know what, brother, you do this. I'm going to go back to school and learn about business. And then he actually delegated the next brother to run the route. And it just kind of trickled and it fizzled out, which no knock on any of them. I was the one that started it and just didn't know what I was doing. So I let it die, basically. Went back to school for business, got involved in the network marketing company and started making a little bit of money. And I thought I was king of the world. So I quit school again and found myself moving to Boise in 2012 with my best friend Landon, who's still in network marketing today and doing very well. But I went a different route than he did. Made no money in 2012. It was like $12,500 for the entire year. I was like 23 at the time. At the end of that year, I started bussing tables. Started to make some money, like $2,500 to $3,000 a month, and it was the most money I've made as an adult. So I was living large, and it was all tips, so it's all cash, right? But before I got that job, I owed everybody money. I mean, everybody. I didn't have any money. I was keeping a journal at the time, and I actually got down to $4. And I remember thinking, so on my journal, I had two sides of the journal. On one side, I'd write down everything I was grateful for, and that was real right then and there in that season and in that moment, what I actually had. And on the other side, I'd write down everything I was thankful for that hadn't happened yet, that I knew was going to happen one day. And there were big, big goals like helping 100,000 people get financially free, having a ranch, having married the woman of my dreams, and having strong, beautiful, healthy children. Just this bigger think stuff, having a jet, having a Lamborghini, having like all this stuff, right? Those were all just words on a piece of paper. I had no real guidance. I had nobody really saying, oh, Goose, this is the way you do this. This is the way you start a business. This is the way you manage money. This is the way you earn more money. This is how you get promotions. This is nobody who did that. I was literally just plugging into any guru I could find on YouTube, read any book I could. A lot of my wealth knowledge came from being self-taught. And I don't think I'm self-made by any means, because I've had a lot of help along the way with people that had no idea that even helped me, right? From family, friends, from just like experiences that I got to share with them because their family took me on a trip with them or something. Like I got to see a bigger world than I was actually currently living in. And I had that my whole life, which is just very interesting. And part of my story is just, I've always felt favored for whatever reason. And I don't know why, so I can't explain it to you, but I think we all are favored, actually, if you're looking for it. I think that's why I always felt that, because I was always looking like everything happens for a reason and everything is happening good for me. I never focused on the bad. I didn't have a perfect childhood by any means, but I've always been able to find the good in almost anything and almost in every day. So with that said, I was bussing tables and being a waiter at Tucano's. That was the restaurant here in Boise. And I waited on a table one night that was the general manager of an RV dealership. I felt like he just had something for me. And actually at the end of their dinner, he was on a date. At the end of that dinner, he actually offered me a job to sell RVs, and I had no idea that was even a job. I didn't know people sold RVs. I thought people just went and bought them. I knew nothing about RVs. We had one as a kid for like a hot second. I think we used it twice, but anyways. So I said yes, and at this time, this is where I started going. I had a friend actually take me to GCD, which was basically youth group for 20s to 30-year-olds. I was in and out of church kind of my whole life. I think my parents and my grandparents did as good of a job as they could we always prayed, right, for our food. And we always knew like God was real and he existed and he was the creator of all and all that stuff. But it was kind of like borrowed faith. It wasn't like my own personal relationship, I started going back to church through this youth group. I didn't go to the actual church. I went to this youth group that we met. And I remember walking in and like they had KB. I don't know if you know who that is, but KB, he's a Christian rapper. And the song was Church Clap. And Pastor Mark Francie was the pastor at the time. And I walked in and there was like 150, 200 people in this huge room. And it was just so much energy and so positive and so fun and so loving. And I remember just being like weirded out. Like, I've been in a youth group before with like the 8 weird kids that we only hung out at church and that was it. That was my experience at least. But I'd never been to something like that. And I was like, wow, there's something different here. So I kept coming back, and I started to going on a regular basis. And there was a message on tithing. And so I was listening to it, and I know what tithing was. And if you don't know what tithing is, that's okay. Tithing is you give 10% of your income back to the church. And it's not, you don't give it because the church needs your money or because God needs your money. You give it because it opens the doors to blessings for you. And it's just a great discipline, right? It makes sure that you know who you love, the giver, not the gifts. At least that's what it means to me. You can do your own research, and if I'm totally wrong, then, well, prove me wrong. But I started tithing. And again, I had $4. So I had $4, and then I got this busing job, which then opened a door to selling RVs. I became a top producer there that first year I was there. And then the second year, same thing. And then I was helping manage that dealership at that point. And I'm going to tell you specific numbers because I think it's important. So remember, in 2012, I made like $12,500 for the entire year. Going to busing tables, started making like $2,500 to $3,000 for the month. And I was there for 2.5 months until I got this sales job at the RV dealership. My first year selling RVs, I made almost 50 grand. It was literally $50 short of 50 grand. So it's called 50 grand for whole numbers. Huge money for me, right? I'm a single guy at the time. I don't have any real obligations. I'm in so much debt, right? I had student loans and owed everybody money. So I started to just slowly pay those all off. I made literally a list of everybody I owed money to and just started paying them off. Year 2, selling RVs, I made $73,000. Again, that was a nice little bump, right? Year 3 of selling RVs, it was either 80 or 90. I can't remember exactly, but it was either 80 grand or 90 grand made by August. So I was well on track to hit over 6 figures. And this was gonna be the first time I ever hit 6 figures. And I'm like 25 at the time, I believe, 25, 26. I meet this gentleman selling RVs, and I actually sell an RV, and he's the president of an HVAC company. And I was doing his financials for him, and I saw he made over $1 million a year. I was like, wow. And I made a little joke like, there's special programs for people like you. Acting like he couldn't afford it. But I asked what he did and everything, and he told me, and I just felt like he was going to offer me something. It was just weird. And I went home that night, and I was talking to my wife. I was like, hey, I met this awesome couple. I think he's got something for me. I don't know what it is. And I wasn't looking by any means at this point. And sure enough, he offered me a job to come sell HVAC units. I knew nothing about HVAC. You start to see a pattern. I know nothing about RVs. I go and take the opportunity and do very well. Take the HVAC. I don't know anything about them, about what HVAC is or what it even does or how you even sell it, and or that it's even a job. And I ended up doing pretty well at that too. I go from selling HVAC to here's the other thing. My guarantee was 70 grand for the year. So I went from making, I think it was 90 grand that last year selling RVs by August to now getting paid a guarantee $70,000 for the entire year. This is a pay cut, but it's for an opportunity that has a higher ceiling. So sometimes you need to get a haircut to set you up for the next opportunity, for a better opportunity or a different opportunity. I felt like it was going to be a better opportunity. As it plays out, it ended up being a great opportunity for me. Not that selling RVs was bad at all. It just, I for whatever reason, I needed to go do something else. I do well at that. I get a promotion to go down to California and work in California. We pray about it. feel peace about doing it. It's just my wife and I. We don't have any kids at this time. So we moved down to Walnut Creek, California, and start working there. What's crazy is my base pay was 125 grand now. So that promotion got me there. Now remember, going back in 2012, I made 12,500. And now 6 years later, my base pay is $125,000. That's 10x. That's 10 times what I made. And the only difference is I started tithing every single check I ever got. See, if you read in the Bible, it talks about tenfold, 100-fold when you give, and to be a cheerful giver. And that's why you should be a giver, not just to receive, but it just happens. When you give, you do receive. And it's not always in money, but life is about commissions, right? Money's part of that. Relationships are part of that. Opportunities is part of that. Like that, all that stuff is commissions. So it was amazing to me looking back. I was like, wow, I had $4, made 12,500. I started tithing and I didn't miss tithing. And now I have a guarantee pay plus bonuses, but guarantee pay of 125 grand. That was a big swing. As a little boy, I always wanted to be rich because I didn't grow up with money. I think most people at least fantasize about being rich or winning the lottery or something. And what was interesting to me is just using basic principles, right? Basic principles. Make as much as you can, live below your means, save money, tithe. I had this huge goal, which I thought was a huge goal, to be a millionaire by 30. At this point, I'm now 27 and I'm living in California with my wife, my beautiful wife. And we get pregnant, we have a baby. We get pregnant, she gets pregnant 3 months after we're there, which we weren't planning on having kids for a couple more years. And it just accelerated us moving back to Idaho. We knew we didn't want to grow up and raise our kids in California. And not that California is bad. I don't agree with how it's ran by any means. The state is absolutely beautiful though, and the people are great. We have some amazing friends in California. And we hope they move up to Idaho. But anyways, we had this opportunity to move back, and I asked for my job back, selling HVAC back here, and that job was no longer available. So it's like, oh boy, so what do we do now? So I thought, well, I'll just go back and sell RVs. Like, I know how to do that. I did well at that. You can make a great living doing that. So that's what I'll do. Randomly, I called my old landlord to see if I could buy. So let me back up a little bit. When I made $12,500, I had a 407 credit score. That's not good. If you don't know what credit scores are, where they go, they don't get much lower than 407. I had horrible credit, and I was just trying to get a hold of my life and just take full responsibility for it. Stop blaming other people for my circumstances and just start to take responsibility for what my life was going to look like. Because I'm a huge believer, like, if your life's going not like you want it to, it's your fault. If your life's going like you want it to, it's your fault. Like, there's simple, practical things. Yes, God has his part in it and his role in it, but there's practical things that you can be doing on a day-to-day basis that will help navigate how your life is going. The things that I was doing, my life wasn't looking like I wanted it to. So I made the decision, which is super important. You have to make the decision every day. But I made the decision to turn my life around, and I called up this random Craigslist ad, and I was like, hey, I need a place to stay, I need a place to rent. I know you're gonna run credit. My credit is horrible. Will you please just meet me face to face, and you can do a checkout for yourself to see if you want me to be a renter or not. And they were a phenomenal couple, and they took a chance on me, which I'm so grateful for. They let me rent their apartment out. Fast forward back to living in California and trying to figure out what we're going to do moving back to Idaho and how we're going to be able to move back to Idaho. I called him, his name's Craig. I called Craig randomly on an August day, and it was his birthday, which is even crazier, but I called him and I said, hey Craig, I'd like to buy that apartment complex that I was renting from you originally. It's a sevenplex, so it's nothing crazy, but 7 units. And it's like, oh, nice to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. He goes, it's not for sale right now, but I might have a business for sale. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, are you sure it's not for sale? Like, if we can work it out, then great. But he just was pretty persistent on not wanting to sell it yet because it was part of his retirement plan. So he says, I might have a business for sale. I said, great, send me over the numbers and we can go from there. I said, send me over the numbers, knowing I wasn't going to buy this business because I was wanting real estate. What's crazy is the fact that I was even open, and I even said, please send me the numbers, because that is what projected everything. So he sends over the numbers. My wife and I are going over this P&L sheet, profit and loss, if you don't know what that means, going over the P&L sheet and the balance sheet. It's like, I can make sense of this. So it was a bracing company, a wholesale bracing company, and they basically buy braces and resell them. Is basically what they do. I was like, wow, this makes sense. And there's a positive number at the bottom of the sheet. It means it's profitable. I was like, okay, I think we could do this. Fast forward the story a little bit. We take 6 months to negotiate this deal. 6 months from what they were asking to what we were going to be able to buy it at. 6 months. So we moved back. Ella, our baby was born October 4th. We moved back to Idaho 4 weeks after she was born, and still negotiating this process, by the way, still negotiating the business, not knowing if we were gonna be able to buy it or not. We're probably gonna have to, I'm jobless at this point. I quit my job at the HVAC company, moved back to Idaho, and it's 3 months we spend just being mommy and daddy. But it takes 6 months to negotiate this deal. We had the same bank tell us no 8 different times. And we just kept going back, knowing that there was just so much peace about this deal. I knew it was gonna happen, I just didn't know how it was gonna happen. And finally we had a come to Jesus moment. We were in Denver at the time, that's where my wife's from and her whole family used to live. And we were over there visiting, and I was like, man, we're just living off savings at this time. We need to start getting some money coming in. Things started to get tight, and I finally just prayed a bold prayer, a super bold prayer. And I said, God, you get us a yes by Friday. I think it was like a Tuesday. You get us a yes by Friday, or we're turning the page on this deal, and I'm gonna go sell RVs. Again, this took 6 months to negotiate. The same bank we're still talking to, same bank, told us no 8 times. And then on Thursday morning, they call and say, congratulations, your loan has been approved. And then January is when we closed. Going back, I had this huge dream of becoming a millionaire before I was 30 years old. And I didn't know how it was gonna happen. But after we bought the business, we were able to buy more real estate. We had a meeting with our CPA when I was 29, and he literally said, congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Susie, you guys are officially millionaires. And it was such an amazing moment, but also like not as satisfying as I thought it was going to be, because in my mind I picture like millionaires having like the Lambo in the garage or the Rolex on their, this is a fossil watch, this is not a Rolex, but a Rolex on their wrist, and just like, right, just like what culture shows us what millionaires are or what they aren't. And I just remember thinking how grateful I was and how God just keeps his promises. And that little goal of mine, what I thought was such a huge goal, it opened my eyes to how much more God has in store for me and my family. And it's not just to have a title. And now that's how I look at it. Yes, it's an accomplishment because it takes discipline, but I'm a huge believer anybody can become a millionaire today. Anybody. I had $4 at 23 and then became a millionaire by 29. And I'm not saying this to impress you. I really don't care if I impress you at all. I'm focused on just trying to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can do, the best that I can be for my family, for my church, for my peers, for my business, for the people around me, my friends. I'm saying that because I hope it inspires you. Like, I didn't come from money, and technically I'm, I guess, first generation wealth, if you will. I couldn't have done it with the family I have. Huge support and encouragement, and the confidence that they've instilled from a very early age of just stay true to yourself, work super hard, and you'll you'll be successful. I share that little story with you. There's a lot more to this story. I don't want to go too long on this video, but I always told God too, like, if I make it, I want to help other people make it. And that's where this whole God money principle, this God money brand just hit me. Was my God money story is I had $4, and then through being disciplined and obedient and tithing, I hit a millionaire by 29. Like, that's, some people do it way faster. Some people will never do it because they don't get down the principles. So I want to help teach the principles that I use. I want to give you everything that I have taken from other people as far as like information goes, to help you do the same thing, to help you accomplish your goals. I don't know what those are, and they don't have to all be financial, but give money and give your finances the appropriate attention and focus. Most people don't focus. They don't pay any attention to their money, and that's why they never have any. That's what I did. I would make money, and then I would spend it. I'd make it, and I'd spend it. I'd make it, and I'd spend it. And that's this whole rat race, right? It's never ending. And I don't know when enough money is enough. I really don't. I just want to be the best that I can, hit my potential. I don't even know what that is, but I just pray that I am doing God's will, and I just pray that I'm able to continue to grow and be who God created me to be. It's super exciting to make more money, and I know some people don't even like talking about money, but you need to get over that. And I'm telling you to get over that because money isn't going away anytime soon, at least. Oxygen is very important, and because we live on an economic planet, money is also very important. The love of money is not good. See what the Bible says about that. However, money isn't good or bad. Money is just a tool. That's all it is. And when I started shifting my thinking on what money actually is and what it can do and what it should be used for, money's easy. It really is. And I hope that doesn't rub you the wrong way. I know my heart and what I'm trying to say, so I hope it's coming out that way. But we need to take our money a lot more serious, and we need to get down the basic principles and disciplines. This God Money show that I'm doing and episodes are to share just that, to take normal business people, millionaires, not millionaires, just people that are successful in the work environment that are Christians, and see what principles they use to accomplish their goals, to hit their targets, and to create their dreams into realities. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, please comment below. If you like this, like and subscribe. I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing. I don't know any of like this filming stuff and all that stuff, but I'm not letting that get in my way anymore. It comes a time where we just have to start. And that's what I did one day. I started by tithing 10%. And I didn't think I could afford to tithe. And then after tithing, I realized you can't afford not to tithe. The doors it opens up, the opportunities that open up, the abundance that starts to happen is absolutely insane. And the only explanation is God. Called to be obedient, not called to be perfect. I know that I'm a messy guy that God still loves. And it's a pretty amazing thing when you start to be free of your money. And when you stop working for your money and your money starts working for you. It's amazing the doors that open up. Have a great day. I hope we see you back here again. I'd love to meet you one day. If there's anything I can ever do to help, I'm just going to be sharing my story. I'm going to be helping other people share their stories. Everything that I've done is exactly what I've done. There's a lot of different ways to do it. As far as making money, as far as business goes and strategy goes, I'm going to share you what I know because I know it's worked, and I know it does work, and I know it took a 23-year-old guy with $4 and the basic principles turned that guy into a millionaire by 29. Have a great day. Be blessed, and we'll see you later. Bye.